Good morning, everyone. Hey, this is Rick Hoffman, TGIF, as they say. Thank God it's Friday. Boy, what do you guys think of yesterday? And it's been a crazy roughly, let's just say the last 15 to 20, last 24 hours, probably. The events in Afghanistan played a played with the market's head a little bit, I think. There was a pretty decent little flush early on, but the market rebounded from that pretty quickly. They, you know, the indexes held on to their key levels and rebounded from that. But then later in the day, there was another bombing, and then they flushed out towards the end of the day. Also, I think a little bit on the fears of what might be coming out of Jackson Hole, but if you've listened to Mr. Kapow, he's has said that he doesn't want to do anything that's going to upset these markets or upset what's working right now. So I guess that's a positive. He's going to come out today and talk at 10 o'clock. They've released some of the minutes. So I think the markets are responding in kind, in a positive way here this morning to those minutes. There's been a drop in volatility. And so we've seen some prices tick up. As I look at the four indexes that I watch, the Qs, the YM, the Dow, the Russell, and the S&P, um, you know, uh, they all held key levels, and they're responding back up to positive territory here today. Whether or not we set new highs, that I don't know. I think the markets will be kind of laid back a little bit here this morning at the open, but we'll see. I mean, this market, anything can happen. So let's get into this video here. If you know, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't give financial advice. My analysis here is purely for my own personal education, but also it's part of my trade journal and also part of my review and what I do as far as discussing the setups and the charts and what I see, sharing a little bit of what I'm doing as far as what are my trades, kind of where I'm going with those things and my ideas. I'm an older trader, so I'm rather risk adverse. I don't like to lose money. Yesterday was kind of an emotional day for me, because I had some red in my on my P&L. We adjusted a few positions, took some risk off the table. We made small profits. So I look for high probability setups. Your situation may be totally different than mine. I don't send out trade alerts, and I don't recommend to be a sheep, and I'm not a sheep. So, I will make my own decisions based on what it is that I see. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about some of those things here. So let's jump over into our chart here, and we'll take a look at the YM. And very bullish. The Dow is very extremely bullish. It is it's trading right along the 1 ATR line. The wicks dropped down. Other than about a couple months ago, we had a pullback to the 21. And it seems like about every 2-3 months we might get a pullback. So we could be possibly due for a pullback based on the trend that we see here. So we are in a weekly squeeze with a decreasing momentum. And so, and we have on the histogram, we've got, it looks like a sell signal here on the long-term chart. So we may see some, downtrend coming here on the Dow possibly. And typically when you look back, here's, when you look back, to the on the history, it does tend to, if we go back into September, October, here's kind of, what you see here, kind of similar. We have a sell signal and we get a pullback for about a few weeks here. So we could be in for that. But again, anything can happen. The Dow held on to support here at the 35,137. It um, Yesterday it bounced up off of that. It held that support level, and also here this morning it looks like we had a wick kind of extend down um, into that support level, but it responded, and we've pulled up from there. Question whether or not it will continue. We're up around 69, 70 points right now. If everything holds, that looks to be where the markets will open. Um, let's jump into the Russell. The Russell, as I have this zone right here where I'm looking at the Russell to possibly run out of steam and begin its trek lower back to test this support, or this support line here. So we bumped into resistance at the 1 ATR. This basically this what I'm referring to here as the resistance line, or a fire line here. And so I'm looking at this to possibly, if it breaks above the trend like it did, but it closed here, but yesterday it pulled back to the 21. It held the 21. It seems to be holding the 21 here this morning. So we're getting a little bit of tight, possibly some wedge action going on here. So let's see what the Russell does here. Again, long-term chart, it is a downtrend. We have a red ADX and ADX at 22.9, which is anything over 20 is a good thing. So we'll be watching this, waiting for our signal to jump in on this back down to the short side. So I'm patiently waiting for that setup, because this could possibly right now this is a nice little uptrend. We haven't necessarily set a higher high yet, but we need to break this resistance here, break out of this shaded area, and I think we've got a shot at potentially setting a higher high. And then if that's the case, then we may see a reversal, and the Russell's usually kind of the leader in the pack here, I think, where if it makes that turn, then we may see some other movement out of the others. But with the bond rates increasing, small caps can also benefit from that. So inflation fears, things like that. So we could be seeing some rotation out into, and possibly into, small caps. So I'll be watching this right now. No way I'm going to jump in on this here and look at a short or anything like that on anything related on the Russell. The VIX here, we did close up here almost 19 last night. We were flirting with that, and so we pulled back here at in the markets, and last night and into this morning, and we've been kind of trending right here around 17, between 1750 and 18. So let's see if we can hold the 18, if we can stay below that. If we get a pop up to 19, we may get, we're going to get some more volatility. But if we can remain under the 20 line, that's a plus. But I think we're going to see some little bit of volatility here in the open. Once we get Kabul behind us at 10 a.m., then I think the markets will calm down, and it'll digest the news, and we will probably continue this upward trend here. At least that's my feelings, is what let's just say I'm kind of banking on here myself. So when we look at the S&P, it held the 21. There's support right in here, resistance, support. It basically the 4480 is really a key level. It broke that. We closed below the 4480. It's right at the 44.77. So we're real close to that right now. We need to get back above the 44.80. If not, then, if we continue this trend, I think we're going to probably head down to 4,400 to 44.30, this zone right in here. And then we would be looking for this to hold that and then take a bounce from there. So, my target on the S&P is, we've got to get above the basically for all intents and purposes, 4,500. The SPX broke 4,500, got 4,501 on the SPX, but where the high here is 44.98. That's a key level. So I would like to see this get back up there and test that again today. We'll probably test it. If we could break through and close it, then we're going higher. And depending on what Kabul says, this really could light a little fire under the S&P, and we could get there, and we'll see what the FANG stocks and tech stocks do. With that being said, let's jump into our little friendly the cues here, and let's take a look at what's going on. Similar situation here. It held the 1 ATR, and we've got kind of resistance right here. It's acting as support for our high, but not a really strong level probably, because it had no problem coming through. But this right here, the 1 ATR is going to act as a pretty solid support, I hope. Then we've got this level here set on this high back in August, earlier August, and that's that was a tough level of resistance for the Qs to get above. But when we broke that above, we went and set new high, new high, new high. So it's cooling off a little bit, so which is good, and so that way we can continue the run. I'm going to be keeping an eye on all the tech stocks, the Teslas, the Amazons, and Facebooks and all those alike, which we've got positioned. We did cut our position yesterday on Facebook, and we did cut our position on Crocs. They were closing it today, would have been 21 days to DTE on those, and my rules are if they don't really make a significant move on by the time we get to 21 days, and we haven't hit our profit target, which we were targeting 50% of the credit received, we go ahead and close those out and take and so we kept a little bit of credit, but enough to take the family out to dinner. But anyway, so we are looking at the cues to possibly hold this. And again, it's all going to be based on what Chairman Powell says. And I don't think there's going to be anything that the market is going to go one way or the other. I think it's just going to kind of sit on their hands. There's a lot of money that's been flowing into these markets, so I think it's going to continue to flow. And but we've got plenty of money on the sidelines that we can deploy. That was one of the reasons why we closed out our two positions yesterday, because number one was a little bit of an emotional decision on my part. So let's take a look at let's see, we closed out Facebook. We closed out Facebook on this big red candle here. We sold these strikes down here, the 350 strike. Really no reason to close this out. But the biggest thing was, if we were to get something negative here, plus with what's going on in Afghanistan between now and the 31st. So there's some uncertain things in the world today that could be catalysts that could cause a flush. And so some of these tech stocks could flush out. And I just kind of felt that was a wise decision. So this kind of topped out here. We may see a pullback to about 360. And right now it looks to be gapping up about $1 here this morning from its close. Then of course, we closed out our Crocs position. And let me pull that up here real quick. And Crocs just hasn't been able to get organized. Well, I mean, it is organized. I mean, it's above the 21, so it's a strong trending stock. It's a bully stock, but we're getting the sell signal here on. This is kind of what I was seeing here, and we've got a sell signal on the daily here today. So this is one of the things that we were looking at here that possibly. And I just felt like if there was a catalyst in the world or with the Chairman Kapow, um, we would see this flush down a little bit further. So it just wasn't. I just felt it was best to take profits. Can't go broke taking profits, and remove some of the risk from the table. We are still in our Amazon position. Amazon, we are in that one. Um, where are we? Well, here, let's go ahead and take our Tesla. We are still holding Tesla, um, and Tesla had a nice little pullback. But I think Tesla we sold a 660 strike down here, so we're looking really good on that. Um, and Tesla's is gapping up here this morning about $4, so it's gapping back up, right in above the 702, and so we're going to hold this 702, which would be great. Roughly 700, and and I think from here, it's going higher. So we are sitting pretty here on Tesla and Amazon. We've got a debit spread on Amazon. Amazon was strong, in my opinion, for what this has gone through with the gap down. Amazon is behaving with this gap down here. I know a lot of people feel like because it's below the 21, they're looking at shorting, shorting Amazon, and there's a lot of people that are. But I'm very bullish of Amazon. Positive earnings, but this is typical. It typically drops on good earnings. This one, I think, was a conjunction of Bezos stepping down and having a new CEO, and also what it typically does. It's just, the markets are trying to figure out what's going on with, how's this going to reflect. And, it was good earnings, but the earnings was $15, on an estimate of 12. When you go back to the previous one, it was earning estimate was 975 roughly, and they still got 1579 actual. So from that standpoint, earnings were down a little bit based on what they did last time, and the estimate was higher. So, so I think that was a reaction to this, and I believe it'll readjust back up. I mean, Amazon's a beast. So, we've, it's got the sell signal, but we're coming down in here on here, and we've got the buy signal back here. So this is going to probably continue above our line here, and I think it's going to follow the trend pretty much of what we see right here, and this is our target zone. So this is going to fill the gap. Stocks always fill the gaps. I won't say always, but 95% of the time they'll fill the gap. And I think Amazon's one of those ones that it's got its eye on filling the gap. So there's my analysis. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I am watching. We did play Spirit is where is it? Support.com. It's a penny stock, but the cotton picking thing is just going crazy here this morning. Yeah. It's up. Let me pull this up on let's pull it up on a 1 hour chart here so we can see the well, let's hang on a second. Let's get over here to our there's our daily chart, and here's our 2 hour chart. It's all the way up to $33. It's just on fire. This thing is going to ballistic here this morning, and it's going, it's still, it's still got on the daily chart. It's got some room to run still. It hasn't run out of steam. It's way overextended. So we're going to be watching this, waiting for a signal here on the daily, but also the 2 hour chart. And we've got a sell signal on the 2 hour chart. But at this point in time, this is a low floater. It is a So, we played it in the beginning from here to here. Should have probably stayed or should have got back in, but that is not, that's not my bread and butter play. This is not a high probability, but waiting for this to peter out and then looking for it to go to the downside. And we will, buy some puts on it, and we'll probably play some put call spreads, or put, you know, uh, bear spreads. So we will we'll be looking at that also. So that's uh, it's just it's something that will put a little bit of risk on it, but nothing spectacular. But usually, I can do pretty good on these if we as long as I don't get emotional and everything. So we will deploy a little bit of capital here if the signal comes, and it could come today. But this is but this is the low floater short squeeze stock, and people are trying to short it. And you just don't short things that have this kind of momentum. So there's my analysis for the day. You guys have a great day. Have a happy Friday. Happy trading to you. Enjoy your weekend. And if you just don't want to put any money in the markets today, that's fine. Cash is a position. So I know I've got a lot of cash on the sidelines that we'll probably not do much with here today. But again, we'll wait and see. We still like to put our income spreads out there on the SPX. So we'll be looking at a position if we can get a little bit of a pullback. But if we can get a good entry here this morning, after the chairman Powell speaks and that kind of shakes out here this morning, get rid of all the make and bank bros that will be in and say they want to make their bank by 10:30. We'll flush them out, and then the rest of us can get busy. So you guys have a great day. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and comment below. Let us know how we're doing, and have an awesome weekend. See you guys.